Hey, I'm Guy.
I'm John.
You're on our YouTube channel. Glad you're here. Subscribe and give this video a like.
Also, check out our podcast, Haberman, that's him, Middlecoff, that's me, down in the description.
One day soon, John, there will be people in the sparkling new SoFi Stadium. Shout out to the LA Rams for building their own stadium, Middlecoff. Pretty impressive.
Yep. Six bill potentially it might cost Stan.
God.
Wasn't cheap, guy. Of his own money.
But this video is not about how sweet their stadium is. This video is about how difficult it will be for them to bounce back and make the playoffs this year, despite the fact that, if you know anything about us, you know we love their coach. He's on the left. Cliff Kingsbury's feet on the right. They're battling for third place in the NFC West this year.
Yeah, I mean, I think when you look at his 3 years, he obviously started like gangbusters. First year playoffs, second year in the Super Bowl. And last year, while it felt like a disaster, they were 9-7. And the game, kind of a swing game when they played the Niners at Levi Stadium, and Jimmy hit those plays, I think multiple 3rd and 17s, if I remember correctly. The famous one is when Jalen Ramsey almost killed Taylor Rapp and gave up the big one at the end of the game. But I look at this team, like that team wasn't that bad. In 2019, the format, they would have been a playoff team. And to me, they would have been a playoff. If I told you the Rams played the Green Bay Packers in the first round in a 2-7 matchup, to me, the Packers would have been no lock to win that game. But when I look at the 2020 team with the turnover from players and coaches and how much better I think the Niners got better. Seattle's going to be better. Arizona's better. I think the Rams could be in some trouble, guy.
Yeah, it's not really an NFC West conversation. Just the NFC is better, right, in general. Now there's an extra playoff spot too, but it's a team that was top half of the league in yards per play on offense and on defense. Largely on offense, it was a passing thing. They were actually 4th in the league in yards per pass last season. Not very good in terms of rushing the ball. I know everyone, when we talk about their departures, we don't put a lot of stock in Todd Gurley's departure, but Todd Gurley was a productive player for them. Now, is this just because Sean McVay can scheme up a guy? Can he find Cam Akers 12 touchdowns this year? We're going to find out because they used their best draft pick on him.
Yeah, I mean, when you look, obviously, at 12 rushing touchdowns, and a good majority of those came in the red zone. I would imagine close to the goal line, but still, he was 12 touchdowns, 12 touchdowns, and you had the 2 receiving touchdowns. They drafted a guy last year, Henderson, in the 3rd round, and had to come back this year in the 2nd round and take a running back. And one thing I had heard in the NFL, and you don't even need to hear this, their actions tell you they don't believe that they found their running back last year. That's why you would draft a guy that high. But here's the thing, guy. They have a ton of needs. They lost a lot of players this offseason, not beside Todd Gurley. You're talking Dante Fowler. You're talking Eric Weddle retired. Corey Littleton got a big deal from the Raiders. He led the team in tackles and is one of the better pass covering linebackers in the league. And, oh, yeah, a guy that you might have heard of, Wade Phillips, who has been a defensive coordinator for a Super Bowl team several years ago, the Denver Broncos. I mean, I don't know if it was officially, but it felt like he got fired for a guy that has been in the NFL for 4 seasons. Brandon Staley, I had never heard of him until he got this job. He'd been a position coach for Vic Fangio. But to think that Brandon Staley, a guy that's been in the league for 4 years, could take a guy, the son of Bum, who's been in the league what feels like since the beginning of the AFL merger, wouldn't you say that to even be a net neutral would be a huge ask?
Yeah.
Now, I get it. McVay wanted to change for whatever reason, but when you factor in their personnel getting worse and getting rid of Wade Phillips, how could their defense not be dramatically worse, guy?
It was 17th in the league in points per game last year. Don't forget, Michael Brockards was a Raven for time because he failed the physical and came back. Yeah.
That's a nice keep ad. Yeah, when you thought you lost, a little found money.
They stole that guy from the Ravens. Yeah. Dante Fowler gone. Did you say nickel?
I don't think I did, but he's a good nickel. I think though, guy. When
and John, one other thing, I'll say this: they're not adding. Now they added Cam Akers, who you said people like, but unless they add a 1st-round pick next year, we're talking about 5 straight years without a first. Now they traded out in 2019, right, of the 1st round. But the Rams' last 1st-round pick is Jared Goff. We always laugh about the Seahawks never have first-round picks, but the longest they went in a row without a first is 3 years. This is 4 and coming up on 5 years without a first-round, 5 straight years without a first-round pick by 2021.
That's a wild stat.
So how do you add elite talent?
Well, here's the thing,
if you
guy.
don't have a lot of money.
You can't. They don't have any money. They don't have the draft capital. And then when they did, their best pick this year, you go, okay, they got a second round. They take a running back. When they have all these needs on defense, their offensive line it was bad last year. It's atrocious. How are they blocking? Well, the Niners got rid of Buckner. They add Kinlaw. Their defensive line's good. The Seattle Seahawks added a pass rusher, and who knows? They might add Clowney back at any moment and re-sign him. The Arizona Cardinals have Chandler Jones and
added Isaiah Simmons,
he had 6 or 7 sacks. He can rush the passer a little bit. It definitely has like a blitzer, whatever his role is going to be. I just think the Rams, personnel-wise, I like McVay. You like McVay. We like Jared Goff. But Jared Goff is not a quarterback that can play behind it. Like, you can put Russell Wilson or even Kyler Murray, shitty offensive line. Well, they can run away. Jared cannot run away. Now, when you protect him, they got from Robert Woods to Cooper Kupp, who, think about this guy, Cooper Kupp, who clearly is Jared Goff's probably best friend on and off the field. And then you factor in Jalen Ramsey. How much are those 2 guys going to cost after this season?
Well, you have to pay Ramsey, right? You
don't have a choice. To me, you probably have to figure that out before, but you can't let Cooper Kupp walk. So you're going to be paying, what type guaranteed money are we talking between those 2 players? Ramsey, $70, $80 million, Cooper Kupp, 50. I mean, you're talking 120, 130 million dollars. How do they add players? They're not going to be a factor in free agency. Now, their draft pick could be better. I think it's going to be a challenge, guy, for this team to get to 500. Just from I don't like their roster.
Wide receiver
and asking a lot of a new defensive coordinator.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, John, Van Jefferson, the wide receiver they took in the second round from Florida. They say he's going to be okay, but they found a Jones fracture at the combine with him. Terrell Lewis, the linebacker from Alabama, who had 2 season-ending injuries at Alabama, the elbow ligament tear in 17. He only played 4 games. ACL in camp in 18, missed the season. Now, I did see Doug Farrar tweeted during the draft that he could be Chandler Jones if he's healthy. He called him Chandler Jones Jr., which is nicer than what you call people, which is a poor man's Chandler Jones. But he had a good Senior Bowl apparently, but it's still a hurt guy. So right, their second and third picks are guys with one has an injury, one has an injury history. And then, like you said, there's just such a major question mark. The other thing is not just a question mark at DC, but a question mark. You talk about O-line, where basically we know one starter, probably Whitworth at left tackle, because they got a left guard coming off an injury, a center coming off an injury.
Whitworth, though, to me, the last couple of years, and I'm a huge Andrew Whitworth guy. You're talking about someone who's now 37 years old. He's getting up long in the tooth, and his play has diminished a little bit. It's hard. We just saw with Joe Staley. It's just hard to maintain a high level of play as you age.
Well, but that side of the ball, so that's the offensive side of the ball against the pass rushers in the NFC West. What about defense? You said it, against Kyle Shanahan, who I think we can agree is already an elite. He's been an elite NFL play caller. Now he's a play caller plus head coach. Russell Wilson. And we're still figuring out what Cliff is, but I think it's clear that Kyler Murray's got something, right? So that's this guy's. That's 6 games a year for a first-time DC.
They added DeAndre Hopkins. They already had Christian Kirk. I like getting Eno Benjamin. Here's my thing. Back to the offense, though, guy. When you have a need, you need more corners. You need better offensive linemen. How can you take a running back in the second round? And I texted around with people in the league. They're like, listen, I like Cam Akers. I gave him a second-round grade. Why wouldn't you just take a 4th or 5th round running back?
We both said Eno. We love Eno. What round did he go in? The 6th, the 7th?
7th. Why wouldn't they take other positions of need when you get better running backs? Or not better running backs. Yeah, they need a lot. Like, to me, you use out a running back where it's been proven you can get. I mean, look at the 49ers playing with undrafted free agents. Chris Carson, of the Seattle Seahawks, 7th rounder. You guys, I don't like the way they've built their team. You have a star head coach. You paid a lot of money for a quarterback. You have a couple elite players on defense. Now you got to funnel around them. And I think they did a poor job really over the last 12 months. And we've seen They had to trade Cooks, to get rid of the money. They basically they cut Gurley. They have not built this team well from a financial standpoint. It put them in a pinch, and then they didn't help out to me themselves. Like I don't have anything against Cam Akers, the player. I don't like that for that team who, listen, if they go 8-8 or worse and miss the playoffs again for a team, going into this new stadium, paying this coach all this money, kind of one of the sexier teams in the league, it'll be a huge disappointment just for their organization.
I agree, and I think people talk about it like another step back from the Super Bowl, but I don't know. The more you look at this team, part of me thinks if they go 8-8, we should be impressed with Sean McVay.
I agree. I think when I look at this roster, I see 5-6 wins. They can't protect the quarterback, and they're not going to be able to stop anyone unless Brandon Staley is like the hottest name since
Vic Fangio Jr.
I don't even know. Yeah, I mean, I'd say the likelihood of that is slim to none. To me, there's just no way it's not even a wash.
Well, I would say
like they got worse.
Yeah, I mean, if Goff takes a big step forward, that would be like if we said, all right, what's the flip side? How can they make this work this year? How can they be a playoff team this year? One would be 9-7. Maybe you got a shot with an extra playoff spot in the NFC at 9-7. Can Goff take a step forward this year? Yeah, Cooks was fourth on the team in receptions. It's not like he was there. They got Robert Woods. They got Higbee.
Goff threw 32 touchdowns last year. It's not like he threw 24. He was productive.
I know. And like I said, he was fourth in the league in yards per pass.
Now, to me, the 32-12, if he could get it to like 38-7 and be in like the MVP discussion, then yeah. But to me, he could have a really good season and them just getting outscored and, win 6 or 7 games.
Yeah.
Like the difference between 6 and 9 wins, right, could be 5 or 6 plays throughout a season. But you're right. Where I think it's hard for them, though, if they can't block, and they can't really block, it's asking a lot of that quarterback, and we saw it with Rivers on years, and Rivers a better player. Like I'm talking peak Rivers on years where they couldn't block for him, or the peak Ben years, you just get killed because you can't run away. And the one thing we've seen in the NFL, I would say over this past decade, and definitely the last like 5 or 6 years up until this draft, the amount of defensive linemen coming in, it's not just the NFC West. Like all the teams they're going to play in the league are going to have the NFC West plays the AFC or the NFC East this year, right? Well, what did the Redskins just add? Chase Young. What do the Eagles have? Barnett, and they signed another pass rusher. The Cowboys, they got some pass rusher. It's just every team's got a couple pass rushers that make it very difficult. Of your 16 games of your schedule, what you might see 2 shitty pass rushing teams, and you're going to see probably at minimum 5 or 6 just teams that are going to overwhelm you if your offensive line's bad.
All right, let us know what you think. Is there any reason to be more optimistic that we missed anything that you agree with? In the comments below. Hit this video with a like. Share it. Go watch another video. Anything else?
That's all I got.